It is 6 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. Today is March 16, 2022. It is 6 o'clock. This meeting of the Hingham Select Board is called to order. I would note for the record, I am chairing the meeting as Chairman Fisher is unavailable to chair. He is participating in this meeting. This meeting is being held remotely as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communication during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record the meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. Does anyone wish to record tonight's meeting?
No, on Wi-Fi.
Hearing and seeing none. I would note for the record that participating in tonight's meeting are myself, William Ramsey as chair, board members Liz Klein, and board member Joe Fisher is calling into the meeting. Second item on tonight's agenda is a discussion and potential vote of the 2022 annual town meeting warrant article F budget. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it over to Tom Mayo to give us an overview of where we are with the budget. Tom, if you could give us a brief of where we are and this item, and we can discuss it. Go ahead.
Will do. Thank you, Bill. So we have, if you remember, we took a vote, the select board took a vote last week to fund the budget. It was a balanced budget, and it was presented at that point to the advisory committee, who took that under advisement, did their work through much deliberation and process. They came out after a meeting last night with a slightly different budget. And what they did, instead of different than what the select board did, was to, and I'll just say it this way because it's easier, they decided not to fund any additional requests, with the exception of the $48,000 for the sustainable budgeting, what is it? I can never remember it. Sustainability coordinator. And the sustainability coordinator has been moved from the salary line of the select board budget to the expense line of the select board budget, so that it is in fact a 1 year, think of it as a contract position. This would not be a recurring salary. And that's how advisory committee discussed it and voted. And in addition, they also voted to fund the poll pad for the town, for the elections budget. An additional, I forget the number off the top of my head, it was in the ballpark of $1,800 if I remember right. So if the board wanted to match what the advisory committee did, your proposed vote list would allow, gives you 2 votes that would allow that to happen.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it overview, Tom. So, Liz, what are your thoughts on it, on a revote of this article?
I think we should discuss it and consider a revote.
Yeah, I'm there, and I think did we lose Joe on the call, Michelle?
We did. The flight attendant advised him that he couldn't make calls during the flight, so he wanted to be here but can't.
Okay, all right, so we'll discuss it. So, I did have the opportunity to discuss the matter with a couple members of the advisory committee, and I got some insight into their vote. And I want to note a couple of things for the record. Very much appreciate advisory's work on the budget season. I thought they did a great job. We have a couple of members on the call, and certainly want to show my appreciation for the hard work that they did over the last couple weeks, well, through the entire year, but certainly over the last couple of weeks. And also want to express my appreciation to Julie and her leadership. So thank you all for the work that they did. I totally get it. We were very close on this matter as well. And I know that we struggled with it as well, but I am comfortable with their vote. I'm comfortable with supporting where they came out. And I think, given the situation we're in and what we're going into in terms of the budget and where we're going to be next fiscal year, that this is where we should be. So I am also comfortable to revote the issue and to look at some additional requests next year as part of what I anticipate to be a pretty significant override question to voters. But what are your thoughts, Liz?
I agree, Bill. First, thank you to the advisory committee. I feel like we presented you with a nearly impossible task of balancing this budget and evaluating all the budgets. So certainly appreciate the due diligence and the hard work that went into that. And Julie, thank you for your leadership. Last night's meeting was quite impressive, the way that you handled everything. So thank you. And I know Dave and George are on too, so extra thanks to them for also attending the Sustainable Budget Task Force meetings along the way. Certainly appreciate the concern that I think advisory committee had about adding full-time positions when we don't have the reoccurring revenue to do so. But appreciate the creativity and flexibility in thinking about how we could advance our climate action goals and to use some funds for a contract position for that sustainability coordinator. And certainly, would hope that we revisit that position and the value that that position can provide to the town next year when we consider an override. And the poll pad, I think is certainly a critical, it's a small budget item, but critical since we've committed to having Linden Ponds be a polling location. So I think that's a necessary piece. So I'm comfortable with the way that advisory committee voted the budget with those two additions. And not as, obviously full-time positions. So I think this budget supports the level of services that the town wants and puts us on a path. We certainly know we have a lot of work ahead of us for next year. And as you mentioned, Bill, a possible, well, very likely override to support where we are.
Thank you. Before I take any comments from the AdCom members here and the public, let me just see, does Tom, you, Michelle Hart, have anything you want to add?
The only thing I just wanted to point out was that there was the minority of advisory committee, in fact, did, I believe, not vote for the two additional items that I just spoke about. And I think what they were thinking was that, again, like Liz just said, without the reoccurring costs or reoccurring revenues, it's difficult to vote for additional expenses. But I just wanted to point out that there was, I believe the vote was 10-3. So there was a 3-person minority that had voted in that manner. So I just wanted to point that out.
I got some insight into that position as well. I thought that I totally understand where those 3 members are coming from, and I think that was a prudent one as well. So I get it. We're in a tough situation here, so totally understand where we are going forward. And as Liz point out, we're going to have a significant debt exclusion in the fall. We got to build a new school. That's something we have to do. We definitely, and we need a new public safety building, and we're going to have a big override. I anticipate a big override question to the voters in the spring. So a lot of work ahead of us coming. So, okay. Let me see, Art, Michelle, do you want to add anything to the discussion?
I don't think I have anything to add. Thank you very much.
Nothing to add, Bill.
Okay. Would any members of the AdCom like to add anything or offer any comments or questions?
Bill, if I could jump in, I'm on a different computer, so I can't use the raise hand function somehow. So I apologize for jumping in. It's Julie Straley, 231 Levitt Street, Chair of the Advisory Committee. And I just wanted to clarify our votes last night where we had dissent on 2 areas. The number 1, the select board budget under expenses, that was the addition of the sustainability coordinator expense. And that vote count was 10-3. And then on the poll pad software under elections, that vote count was 11-2. So just wanted to clarify that, but we're all pleased with the result overall and just wanted to add that.
Julie, thank you. Appreciate that. George, I see George Janis. I see your, you've come off of mute. George, would you like to offer anything? You just say your name and address if you want to. If you don't mind.
Hi, Bill. George Danis, 14 Coolidge Avenue. No, I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Would any members of the public like to ask any questions or offer any public comment? Okay, seeing or hearing none. Liz, because it's you and I, would you care to make the motions? Tom, we got to break this up into two separate motions. Would you agree
Yeah,
with
two
that?
separate votes. Yep.
All right.
Just to
Would
be
you mind-
consistent with how we did it the first time. Yep.
I mean, the chair can make motions as well, Liz, but would you mind making them and then I'll second them?
Sure. Do we have to read through the whole budget or? Can
No,
we?
just
vote the
the
total?
on the proposed vote list is sufficient.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to recommend an education budget of $61,826,503.
Second. Roll call vote. Liz Klein
Aye.
and Bill Ramsey is an aye as well. Motion carries unanimously based on those in attendance. And we have a second motion. Liz, like to make that?
Sure. Make a motion to recommend a DPW highway tree and park budget of $4,327,721.
I would second that motion. Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Motion carries unanimously based on those who are in attendance. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is appointments. I don't believe there are any appointments tonight. We do have a hand up from Dorothy Gallo. Dot, how are you tonight? Would you like to offer something?
Yes, I hadn't intended to offer
Go ahead.
anything, but I think I would like to say that this has been a particularly difficult budget year. I think next year is going to be an even more challenging one. And I have, as a citizen, and that's how I see myself these days, a lifetime citizen of this town, which is 83 years. I've never missed a town meeting when I was of age to vote. And I've always enjoyed budget work. So I've been on a lot of calls of the advisory committee, capital outlay, select board, and the school committee. And so I think that we can credit the people from the various departments, town side and school side, with making good cases for things that they think are important. I wouldn't second guess any of the decisions they've made, and I think they've made good cases, but we're in a tough situation. For many years, I have felt we need additional revenue, and we had a wonderful committee this year. Two of the members of it are sitting on this meeting. Great report, great information. It's going to take a while to be able to digest that and perhaps get to a point where we can have more revenue. But right now, we're going to be asking this town and all of its citizens, parents, seniors, people of all ages and thoughts. And I think that while things that are important to certain departments were well advocated for, I didn't see any of them as being emergencies that we really have to fund. And as we go into the next year, you've all talked about the need for an operating override. And we know that we're facing a couple of debt exclusions, which are a different kind of an override vehicle. We have to be thoughtful of just how big that override can be. I mean, I think some people may see that as great. We'll just throw everything into that bucket, everything we've ever wanted and needed, and we'll do an override, and life will be good from there on. It's not that simple. Getting an override is a tremendous effort. Getting people to understand how overrides work. We haven't had an override vote in this town for a long, long time, going back to when East School was built, and we asked for an operating override that had to be under $1 million. So yes, overrides are, they're in the law. They're there with a great intent to allow the citizens to make decisions about just how much tax money they feel capable of or interested in paying. But this would be an enormous override as it stands because we haven't had one for a long, long time. So I compliment all of you, and I was on advisory board last night, and I think that that was well run. And really, I especially appreciate the fact that Julie, right up front, said, this is what I think we should do. And we have wonderful boards and committees and commissions in this town, and they work hard and they come up with good recommendations. And I think that the way Julie spoke to the committee about this is what I think we should do, and reference the idea of we have to be careful of the size of an override. So I'm only one person, and I'm a senior voter now, but I always supported what recommendations have been made by in the past, the school committee and the advisory committee and the selectmen. I think those are the people who've worked hard and agonized over decisions and have had many challenges. And I continue to think you're the people that we need to listen to. You've done all of the work, and this is good advice. And while it isn't really what everybody would like to have for the current year, all of the things are things that were not recommended. All of these additional things, they're all good ideas, and we may need them, but we don't have to have them all this year. And so we need to be respectful of all of our voters, and we need to be respectful of the size of an override. Maybe it should have happened years ago. We can't go back. We can only go forward. And so I just want to say, for my 2 cents, it might be a little more than 2 cents, but anyway, I respect what both of these boards have decided. The school committee has some decisions it still has to make and some wrestling to do. So I can't speak for them, but I think this is the right thing to do now. And we need to convince the town, the voters, all of the voters. And what we need to do is convince them that we need to be a unified front here, and it isn't about this job or this piece of equipment or that piece of, it's about how are we as a town going to manage what we have facing us for the future, not for the past. We can't undo that. And we can argue about, well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? How did we get where we? None of that is relevant now. The relevant thing for now is that we have an opportunity to make a difference, to make things better for the future. But this year, level services is the right thing to do. And so thank you for that.
Thank you, Dot. Thank you very much for those kind comments. Very much appreciated. Okay. Next item on the agenda are appointments, and I don't believe we have any appointments tonight. Tom, is that correct?
No appointments.
Okay. Let me move to public comment. Does anybody like to offer any public comment this evening?
Bill, Joe is back on the line now. Can you guys hear him?
Yes, can you hear me?
Joe, are you there?
I am here.
Would you like to offer any public comment?
I would like to, if you'd accept it, make a motion to ratify your prior motion, so that way we can actually have it as a unanimous select board vote.
Okay. Okay. You offering a motion to ratify
the motion was previously adopted to approve the budget.
Okay, so we would go back to our all right. So a motion has been made to. I'm sorry.
It's a flight attendant.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
So Joe, I think there's some feed from the flight attendant coming in on the call. Are you still there?
I'm here.
The record's a little murky. Maybe we should maybe do this next week, maybe?
Fine. Okay,
What do you think?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right. Anybody else like to offer any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All right, any town administrator select board reports? Let me turn it over to Michelle. Would like to offer anything tonight?
No, thank you.
How about Art?
Well, thank you.
Tom?
No, thank you. Not tonight, Bill. Thank you.
Liz?
Nothing to report.
Okay, and all I have is to do, wish everybody happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. All right, with that,
Later.
I will take a motion to adjourn. Interesting meeting tonight. A motion to adjourn. Do I hear one?
So moved.
All right, I would second that motion. Roll call vote. Liz Klein.
Aye.
Bill Ramsey is an aye. Joe, are you still there? We lost him. Okay. All those, I'm an aye as well. Everybody have a great night.